Good morning. My name is Amber Sarpy, and I am going to talk a little bit about myself and my son's journey with autism. I know that's for some people it's like, oh, buzzword. Everybody's talking about autism and stuff, but I mean, it's real. I mean, obviously, it's real. People deal with it. People's children deal with it. Diagnoses, all these different things happen. And there's a book that I ran across, and it's called, it's backwards, Autism Spectrum Disorders, The Complete Guide to Understanding Autism, Asperger's Syndrome, Pervasive Developmental Disorder, and Other ASDs. Now, this book was written before the DSM-5, so it spells out the different pieces that are now under one umbrella called ASD, Autism Spectrum Disorder. The author is Chantal Cecile Kira, and I began reading this book maybe a summer ago, but I mean, obviously, because it's really tough for me sometimes to read because I deal with this in my daily life as a parent and as a clinician. But as a parent, it's really hard sometimes to read information that you're living, and because it brings up stuff that you really just haven't taken the time to process. So I haven't really taken the time to process a lot of what I go through on a day-to-day basis with a 5-year-old son that's autistic. I sort of just, you get it done. You deal with the meltdowns. You deal with the perseveration. You deal with the repetitive movements. You deal with the rigid routine. You deal with all the stuff that comes with having a child on the autism spectrum, be they high functioning, be they, wherever they are on the spectrum, I deal with it. And in my mind, it's one moment at a time. I got to get through this. I'm not sitting down to think about, oh, how is this affecting my life right now? In a clinical sense, even though I am a therapist, I'm still a person. I'm a mom. And I'm like, okay, we just got to get you to the car. We just have to get through the grocery store. We just have to, we got to get through this. And my son has been in therapy since he was about maybe 5 or 6 months of age before he was diagnosed with autism, because of the first diagnosis he has, which is infantile spasms. It's a type of epilepsy. It's also called West syndrome. And so, as a parent who's been through so many different therapy sessions, and the routine. You get in, you give them the history, you talk about all the different stuff that triggers them, and just things like that. And all the while, it's just sort of bringing it up, but I'm stuffing it back down because I got to get through what I got to get through. And yesterday, when my son came home from school, he was tired. This is his first year in full day school. I mean, that's huge in and of itself, but this is his first day in full day school. For the last 2 years, he's been in a preschool program for children with disabilities, and that was half day. So yesterday he comes home, and mind you, I still go to school once a day to make sure that he gets liquids because he has a pre-existing medical condition that has delayed how he's able to chew and swallow coordination. So I go to school each day, and that's really great because I get to interface with his teachers and the principal and the admin and the nurse. And that's really important for me because it helps me to feel like my child is safe and that they know I'm present. They know I'm invested. They know that I care. They know that if something is not being done right, that I'm going to question their methods, that I'm an ally for them. I'm not an enemy, that I am coming into this with the best thoughts towards them, that I want to be able to set them up for success because they need to know how to work with him. And so it's helpful. So I went yesterday, and my son wears orthotic braces that go up to his calves. They're called AFOs. And I left a note in the lunch bag saying, please take off Mateo's AFOs at 8:40 a.m. So I'm at work, and when I was leaving to go to school to give him his liquids, I get a message from the teacher saying, oh, he's been crying for 40 minutes and he's upset and this and this and that. And my mind said, they didn't take off the braces. They didn't read the note. They didn't open the folder. So I immediately wanted to react, but I'm a person. I believe in God. I know everybody has their own way in which they carry out their spirituality, but I believe in God. And I said, God, I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond. I know these teachers in his class, they are doing the best they can. They got a lot going on. This is the second full week of school. And it might have been really chaotic this morning in there because I've seen that it is sometimes. So I said, they probably didn't get a chance to read the note. So let me, when I go, just ask. And come to find out they didn't. So now they know. And so he was expended yesterday, He wouldn't even eat lunch. He was so upset because they didn't take off those braces. So he had PE, he had OT. He was upset because the braces went on. So he was just tired. He gets home from a full day of school. He was tired. And, I put him in the bathtub. He gets a snack. He chills out. I'm cooking dinner. He eats dinner. I'm getting his stuff ready for the next day. And by 6:30, he was knocked out. And I'm looking around like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Because I'm so used to being on all the time. I'm a divorced single parent. And it's me. I'm on all the time. So to have a moment where I could just sit and think and stare at the wall and just be like, listen, nothing, was rare. And when I picked up this book, I got to a part that said community, building community for people with autism, building community, and how to be able to introduce them and have others understand and just acclimate them and have them feel safe and others understand what's going on. And that's one of the areas that I struggle with sometimes, being able to go out into the community and feeling like I don't have to be, on edge all the time because he's going to go up and he's like going to tap somebody because he's nonverbal mostly. And that's how he says hi. And they're going to think he's trying to beat him up. Or he does this with spitting, and that's, attention seeking or sensory seeking, how in whatever context, it could be either. So I'm always on edge when I go in the community because I want my son to feel safe, and I want others to understand him. And it's not easy. And I've been increasingly trying to reduce how much I isolate myself from community and activities because of how it feels sometimes overwhelming to have to navigate that. And I began to I was crying. I was like, God, I want my son to feel like he belongs. I want him to feel like and to know. That's the thing. You can feel like, but do you know it? Like, I know I'm accepted. I know that I'm safe. I know that people understand what I deal with. And I know that I won't be excluded because I experience the world a little different than other people. So that's something that I strive to do. I take him to the library. We frequent many of the same places, grocery stores and different restaurants. I take him everywhere because I want him to understand and experience community. But I isolate myself sometimes because it's hard to navigate those things. For instance, like, I used to go to church a lot more than I do now. And I find that when I go, it's invariably someone I have to explain something to, or I can't stay out through the whole service, or, whatever it is. And part of it is my stuff. It's my stuff. Knowing that life is different. It can't be what it was. And how do I deal with what my present circumstances are in a way that's healthy and productive? And that's something that is a day-to-day challenge sometimes. Day-to-day challenge. I'm not going to say sometimes because it is a day-to-day challenge. I welcome it because it helps me as a person, not just as a parent, but, as someone who grew up, I was always pretty much introverted. I stayed to myself. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I didn't mind being quiet and just observing stuff. But now my kid helps me to get out more and experience more and interact more. And so I think that people grow in relationship to others and having a community. So it's important to be able to sit with what's uncomfortable, sit with those challenges, and find ways to meet them and to overcome them in a way that's healthy and positive and productive. Because I can't allow myself to say, oh, well, because my son's autistic, I'm not going somewhere, or I'm not going to, fully enjoy my life, because that's cheating myself, that's cheating him, and that's cheating the grace that God has given us to be able to live here and coexist with people. Because maybe somebody else struggles with understanding people that are different from them. And that's going to be something that's a witness to them. So if we stay in the house, maybe somebody won't get an enlightened moment. Won't see what it looks like to be graceful. Won't see what it looks like to have patience and compassion and empathy towards someone else. And so yesterday when I was reading that, I came to a point where I read, it's a job as a parent of an autistic child to make sure that they are understanding of how they can shop or how they can cross the street and how they can be prepared to be as independent as possible, but also know that we're interdependent, that we need relationship with other people. And how do they do that? How how social functioning impacts us is huge. Because if we're social beings. Someone tells you, "Oh, I don't socialize." Okay, well, all right, you do that. So I want to make sure that I give myself the grace to know that, yeah, it may not have been such a great day, but look at it realistically. I did what I could. I understand how to pick activities that are okay and that will be a good experience for him. And that's important. So just wanted to share a little bit about how it is for me sometimes being a parent, single parent that's divorced with a 5-year-old son that's autistic. But I wrote a poem that I want to read yesterday that sort of journeys from the beginning up until the 6-month mark of my son's life. Only God knows how I've made it thus far. I crept in late and quietly, holding secrets. Time waited and it began to unfold. After 1 month and then after 3. I gave them such a scare, hardly able to bear. I stiffened and bowed. Nothing was loud. Till one day the sirens came, men and women wearing boots and with packs. We 3 carried off into the night. 2 days later, we'd begin the fight. No good news, no relief. This can't be right. She couldn't catch her breath. Throat felt tight. Admitted and held one cold day. Couldn't go home until almost Christmas Day. Life as I knew it went away. Brain waves scrambled, showed the display. So, I haven't titled it, but this basically is from my son's point of view. I'm writing it as if I'm him, to share from when he was born up until he was diagnosed with infantile spasms. So, even though it's weighty, it's serious, it still gives hope because we've made it thus far. My son's not dead. That's the type of epilepsy that if you don't catch, you could die from. And he's made so much progress. A year ago, he wasn't walking. And there's just so much to be thankful for. And I'm really grateful. So the piece that I want to end on today is that the struggle is real. The grief is real. The pain is real. But so too is the grace and the love and the support and the joy that I find in watching the progress that we've both made. We've come so far. And I just am very thankful to people around us, my mother and his therapists, and all those who are connected to us that give us grace and understand us and just cheer us on. So I wanted to share that. Have a good day.